The FAA's recent delays are getting out of hand. If you're following the space industry closely, you know that the Federal Aviation Administration seems to be on a mission to slow down SpaceX's progress. Whether it's Starship or Falcon 9, every new development seems to face another hurdle. And the more you look into it, the more absurd these justifications sound. Take the latest excuse. The heat shield on Starship. Yes, you heard that right. The FAA has now flagged SpaceX's upgraded heat shield as a reason to delay the Starship flight. And if that's not enough, they've also been dragging their feet on the Falcon 9 missions, even after Crew 9's recent success. It's becoming increasingly frustrating, and it's time to talk about what's really going on here. The FAA's delay of Starship's Flight 5 has sparked heated debates within the aerospace industry. Time and again, the agency cites safety concerns as the main reason for holding things up. Specifically, they're targeting SpaceX's continuous modifications to the Starship mission, arguing that these changes require a new license for every major update. Their primary concern? Catching the super heavy booster with the Mechazilla arm? It's a groundbreaking move, no doubt, but SpaceX has spent months planning and testing this maneuver. Yet, while SpaceX has been working out the technical kinks, the FAA is now pointing fingers at something new: the heat shield on Starship S-30. According to the FAA, any change that's material to public safety must be evaluated, including alterations to thermal protection systems, TPS, like heat shields. Sure, on paper it sounds like a good idea. If the heat shield is significantly altered, it makes sense to ensure safety standards are met. But here's the catch. SpaceX made these changes precisely because the previous heat shield had issues. S-29's heat shield didn't perform perfectly, leading to damage on Starship's forward flap during re-entry. So, what did SpaceX do? They upgraded the heat shield. Elon Musk even mentioned that the new version is twice as strong. Yet, because SpaceX hasn't disclosed the full details of this proprietary tech, the FAA is suddenly concerned about public safety. Really? It's almost as if they'd prefer SpaceX to stick with the old, problematic design rather than innovate and improve. That logic seems completely backward. Now, here's the kicker. Despite the upgraded heat shield, the re-entry procedures for Starship haven't changed. It's the same trajectory, the same safety measures. So why does this minor update in hardware warrant such a heavy-handed response from the FAA? It feels like they're clutching at straws. The areas where Starship travels during its flight are mostly uninhabited, so the risk to public safety is already minimal. With proper warnings issued before every test, it's hard to justify why this particular upgrade could suddenly be a safety issue. Yet here we are, another delay, more excuses, and less progress. And it's not just Starship that's feeling the heat. Falcon 9, the workhorse of SpaceX's fleet, is also being bogged down. Crew 9's recent mission was a major success. 2 astronauts flawlessly delivered to the ISS. A textbook mission. But instead of celebrating the achievement, the FAA is investigating an anomaly. What was it? The Falcon 9 second stage landed slightly outside its designated area in the South Pacific. No damage, no injuries, just a minor deviation in a remote, uninhabited zone. Yet the FAA jumped in with an investigation. This is the 3rd consecutive month Falcon 9 launches have been delayed due to such interventions. Let's be clear, safety should always be a priority, but in this case, SpaceX had already paused operations to address any potential issues. These repeated investigations are becoming more of an obstacle than a safeguard. The anomaly didn't even affect the primary mission, so why the holdup? The cumulative effect of these delays is staggering. If the FAA continues at this pace, SpaceX's ambitious goal of hitting 148 launches this year seems almost impossible. They've managed 93 Falcon 9 flights so far, but they should be much further along. At the rate they're going, key milestones like NASA's Artemis program and the return to the moon could be seriously impacted. Let's not forget, we're not the only ones with our eyes on the moon. China's space program is rapidly advancing, making strides with their reusable rockets, lunar exploration, and sample returns. While the U.S. is busy navigating regulatory roadblocks, China is pushing forward. If the FAA doesn't get its act together, we could see a situation where U.S. space leadership starts to slip. And it's not just a question of keeping up with the competition. These delays could have real-world consequences. SpaceX is set to launch critical missions like OneWeb satellites with Falcon 9 and the Europa Clipper mission with Falcon Heavy. Any further slowdowns risk delaying these important missions. If NASA's goals are disrupted, it won't just be SpaceX that suffers. It'll be the entire U.S. space program. The FAA has a job to do. They're responsible for ensuring public safety, and that's a serious responsibility. But when their actions start to look more like bureaucratic obstacles than genuine safety concerns, we have to ask, is the FAA hindering progress more than they're helping? Especially when you consider that Boeing Starliner, which has had a string of safety issues, hasn't faced nearly as much resistance from the FAA. Why is that? Why the double standard? We're at a critical juncture in space exploration. In less than 2 years, Starship is expected to take humans back to the moon. Frequent launches are essential to make this happen, to build up reliability, and to perfect the systems. But the FAA's delays are making that difficult, to say the least. If SpaceX is going to continue innovating and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in space, they need a regulatory environment that supports progress, not one that slows it down. And as other nations continue to ramp up their space programs, the U.S. can't afford to lose its competitive edge. It's time for change, whether it's reforming the FAA's processes or finding a way to streamline these reviews. Something's got to give. Because if we keep going at this rate, the U.S. could risk losing its lead in the space race. That's something none of us want to see. So, what do you think? Are the FAA's concerns legitimate? Or is it time to stop these constant delays? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The future of space exploration depends on it. Let's make sure we're heading in the right direction. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe for more jaw-dropping space updates, and join us as we embark on a cosmic journey like never before.